What you doing? English homework?
LOL, hashtag pre-cal homework.
But don't we have an English exam tomorrow? I mean, hashtag stay all night, hashtag what is sleep, hashtag what is life, hashtag what is love, hashtag love is all, love is you.
Love is old, love is new.
Let's not.
Not gonna lie, I was totally on Facebook all last night. Hashtag what is life? Hashtag Mark Zuckerberg is old. Hashtag friend me? Hashtag he's like 30.
Sweet. I was watching Castle last night. Hashtag getting my castle on. Hashtag Beckett. Hashtag Esposito. Hashtag I'm the king of procrastination. Hashtag bow down peasants. Hashtag I wish I didn't talk about Castle in class.
I know, right? Hashtag welcome to the study club. Hashtag how do you rhetoric though? Hashtag isn't it pronounced rhetoric? Hashtag I don't know English. Hashtag Webster Dictionary. Hashtag I probably should have gone to tutoring. Hashtag did it.
Hashtag classic. By the way, did any of you catch the episode of Downton last night? Hashtag Mary save Downton. Hashtag Mary do something. Hashtag Mary speak up. Hashtag women's rights. Hashtag why did Matthew have to die? Hashtag tear.
Wait, I thought you said you studied last night. Hashtag caught you fool. Hashtag you ain't sneaky.
Hashtag ooh.
Hashtag shut up. Hashtag you ain't special. Hashtag yeah, you guys caught me. I actually wasn't doing anything last night. I mean, hashtag Downton Bates my heart. Hashtag Bates and Anna forever. Hashtag Botana. Hashtag oh my gosh, Bates killed a man. Hashtag Mama just killed a man.
Hashtag put a gun against his head.
Hashtag pulled my trigger, now he's dead.
Hashtag what just happened?
Hashtag I know, right?
I tried to follow some of my favorite shows, but I never had time. Hashtag no social life. Hashtag Shrek is life. Hashtag coffee runs my life. Hashtag electives.
Hashtag agreed. Speaking of following, did you guys watch The Following last night? Hashtag girl be getting stabbed. Hashtag LOL unexpected. Hashtag serial killers. Hashtag injustice. Hashtag Kevin Bacon is freaking attractive. Hashtag original footloose. Hashtag that man sure can dance.
Hashtag Snapchat. Hashtag Kevin Bacon knows.
Why were all these shows on last night? Hashtag coincidence.
Wow, we're really horrible AP students. We should probably concentrate more in class. Hashtag what Smith says is golden. Hashtag stay golden, pony boy. Hashtag books. Hashtag work hard. Hashtag construction. Hashtag I came in like a wrecking ball.
Hashtag I never hit so hard in love.
Hashtag all I wanted was to break your walls.
Hashtag all you
Ever did was wreck me.
You guys are annoying me.
Hashtag no!
Hashtag baby come back.
Hashtag you're mean. Hashtag Asian voodoo. I don't need you. You ain't special. Speaking of books, did any of you guys read Walden? Hashtag I wish I read Walden. Hashtag is he even speaking English? Hashtag who read Walden? Hashtag did Jacqueline even read Walden?
Hashtag no.
I know, right? I wrote an essay about an elephant the other day. Hashtag Smith has to read it. Hashtag probably with a drink. Hashtag wine. Hashtag vine.
Do it for the vine.
I ain't gonna do it.
Do it for the vine.
I ain't gonna do it.
Do it for the vine.
Do it for the vine, vine, vine. Do it for the vine, vine, vine.
Question about Miss Smith though. Hashtag serious.
What?
What's up with her and bubble tea? Hashtag bubbles.
Hashtag boba. Hashtag is that even a question? Hashtag Asians make the best food.
Hashtag Asian invasion. Hashtag assimilation. Hashtag bye bye America. Hashtag you ain't special. Hashtag we are rebels.
We run this. Hashtag English is hard though.
Hashtag let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Turn away and slam the door.
Hashtag stop. Hashtag you ain't cute. Hey guys.
Hey Stevie.
Oh, hey.
What up, Stevie?
Hashtag shut the Smith up.
You know, James Franco's pretty
high. You're just...
Oh, James Franco.
No. Shut up, guys.
Hashtag no social life. Hashtag Shrek is life. Hashtag coffee runs my life. Hashtag electives. Hashtag what just happened?
You left me with the final line.
Hashtag all I wanted was to break your walls. Hand motions, I'm like, hashtag.
Hashtag no. Hashtag no.
Hey guys. Hashtag shut the Smith up.